I've been meaning to check out the developer Supergiant Games for a while because I've heard nothing but great things about them. And now, with two of their most well-known titles going on sale on the eShop for 80% off, I didn't really have an excuse not to pick one of them up. In one of these games, you play as a burly mechanic-looking dude, and in the other, you play as a sexy redhead. So here we are playing Transistor. Transistor is an action RPG that was released way back in 2014, but only came to the Switch in 2018. The game is frequently on sale, so if it's not anymore at the time of this video, just add it to your wish list and keep an eye on it. But honestly, as you'll see in this review, I think it's well worth the full $20 asking price. So if you do find it at 80% off again, it is a steal. Transistor passes its first test with flying colors, which is, it looks fantastic on your Switch's home screen. And thankfully that beautiful hand-drawn art style remains present throughout the entire game in both the actual gameplay and some truly beautiful cutscenes. The art direction in this game is fantastic on every level. Gameplay is fluid and dynamic, and the special attacks and abilities look great and are satisfying to use. The futuristic cyberpunk setting is highly detailed and does a great job of building an urban dystopia that really ties the game together. And while I was initially drawn to this game by its aesthetics, it's the gameplay that quickly stole the show and made this a must-own even 6 years after its initial release. You play as Red, wielding the mysterious sword-like weapon called the Transistor. As you progress through the game, you'll unlock different consciences, I guess, that can be absorbed into the Transistor and used as different attacks or passive abilities during combat. But to further add to the complexity of your combat strategy, you can also attach abilities to each other, using one as the main attack and then the second to add a secondary effect to that main attack. For example, here I gave my longer range breach attack the secondary switch ability that makes an enemy hit by it change its allegiance to me for a few seconds. So at this point in the game, my strategy was to go in close and attack enemies with my crash attack while holding back other enemies from all swarming me with my breach switch combo. But since this early part of the game, my strategy has completely changed, and it was this ability system that provided what truly felt like a unique combat experience to my playthrough. Speaking of unique combat experiences, you've probably at this point in the video noticed the unusual combat mechanics. This is, in my opinion, the best and most unique part of the game. The combat is a mix of live action and turn-based combat. So Red, or the Transistor, has the ability called Turn. This allows Red to freeze time and plan out a series of attacks before time resumes, and then she carries out those attacks with lightning quick execution. After which, the live action piece of the combat has you largely trying to withstand and survive the enemy onslaught after your turn is over. This was a very satisfying and rewarding gameplay style. It puts a much heavier emphasis on strategy than technical skill, but without being slow and repetitive. And with the difficulty ramping up later in the game, it feels like your choices with your turn ability, as well as how you've set up your attacks and abilities before a fight, are really meaningful. I don't want to talk about the story too much, as part of the game is kind of piecing together this weird dystopian world and characters together. I will say though, the story is unique and it does a good job of world building. As I was playing, I felt like the game was giving me just enough that the story was a motivating factor, and I wanted to keep playing to find out what was going to happen next. The story's bad guys in the game do end up translating into some pretty awesome boss fights, which are definitely the highlight moments in both the story and combat pieces of the game. So let's move on to our final score. Transistor has easily become one of, if not my favorite indie game on the Switch. And the fact that you can pick this up on sale for as little as $5 is a no-brainer. The pros include fantastic visuals and art design, unique and satisfying gameplay. The combination of turn-based and live-action combat is something that was really unique and kept me coming back to this game. You're getting great value for your money here. The game even has a new game plus if you're finished and you want to keep your abilities and use them in more challenging situations. And I feel like the length of the game was just about right, taking most people between 6 and 9 hours to complete. The cons you could say about this game are really here just to try and be objective, but are very minor. Occasionally, the battle will extend off your screen, causing you to miss enemies or cause you to make a suboptimal decision on your turn. And I don't know if this is really a con, but the game definitely feels like an indie game. It delivers on the aspects it promises and on the main combat premise, but don't expect to find a huge array of variety outside the attack and ability customization. The cutscene animation is also very simple and often static, but it works well in the context of the game and provides a nice break from the action of the actual gameplay. Now, these are things I had to think of after playing the game, and they did not bother me at all while actually playing the game. Overall, this was a fun and unique experience that at $5, I would say is a must-own on the Nintendo Switch or whatever you're playing. At this point, the game is pretty much available on everything. And for its unique gameplay, story, as well as its beautiful art style and world building, I'm giving this game a 9 out of 10. Thanks for watching. We're a new channel, so if you'd leave a like or a comment, it would mean a lot to us. If you enjoyed the video, we really hope you'll subscribe so that we can catch you in the next video.